Describe the nature of your job as the PBA.
I'm the first and only female anchor for the PBA. I started as a courtside reporter back in 2002, 2003, and then eventually I became the first female to do radio anchoring for basketball in the Philippines. And eventually I got my chance to sit down and be an anchor for television. And it's been about 2 years already, or two full seasons that I've completed doing that. And hopefully more women will also follow suit because it's one of the best jobs.
How does the industry look into women when it comes to representing them, like the basketball industry?
Actually, at first, they weren't really accepting. I'm talking about the fans and I'm talking about the viewers. At least some of the experts and the critics thought that the Philippines or Philippine television wasn't ready for a female voice to cover such a male-dominated industry. Obviously, it's all men that you're talking about when you're talking about the PBA, because it's the players, the people who run the show, the managers, and all of that. You only have a certain number of individuals, a certain number of women who play a key role in the PBA, whether it's on the team side, whether it's on the organization side. Now, so it was a fairly new concept, fairly new idea, but then it helped that even in the NBA, around that time that I was blooming into my position as anchor, they also had female anchors covering the playoffs of the NBA game. So that made it easier for people to consume the idea of having a woman there talk about basketball or talk basketball. It was very difficult though, but I'm so glad because I was able to take a crack at that glass ceiling. It's difficult to do, and it's still there. That barrier is still there. We still haven't really broken through because I'm the only one. I hope for the day when there's going to be a lot more women that won't be just seen as a courtside hottie, as someone who would just be at courtside interviewing these basketball players, looking pretty and looking, dressing nice and all of that. Because I would hate for women to just accept the role to be that beautiful, sexy girl on the sidelines, because that shouldn't be the case. We should be accepted, and if we have the talents, we should have that opportunity to sit there and be an authority in basketball.
Given that you're the only woman in this field, what would be your opinion in the way that this industry presents women in media?
I have to say that there are a lot of very respectable women out there in broadcast media. You can't take away what they've already done, what they've already achieved. I can't exactly also claim that there's still a lot of sensitivities in media in general. Right now, there are so many wonderful and gifted women and women who have taken opportunities and have made something good of it. In media currently, there are the likes of Cesc Rilon, Karina Sanchez, you have Lucy Cruz Valdez, and you have so many different women that have definitely established themselves. So maybe on mainstream media, women are not at such a disadvantage when it comes to broadcast mainstream media. But of course, when you want to zero in on basketball and on sports media, I still feel like it's such a male-dominated arena. Um, Obviously, I've also covered, apart from basketball, I've covered the Sydney Olympic Games. I've covered the Beijing Olympics, Asian Games, Southeast Asian Games. Most of the time, they would assign sports that would be appealing to women women, or applicable to women. So they give you gymnastics, they give you volleyball, they give you synchronized swimming. Um, but now I can really see women sitting down to cover soccer. You have Diane Castillejo who also covers boxing, and then you have me who can cover basketball. These are usually the sports that viewers, that fans, that consumers aren't used to having women around. So again, we're trying to break through that barrier.
What would you like the media industry to have on women? Like what do you envision women to be in media?
That's such a difficult question because a lot of women right now in media have already achieved so much and have already really set the bar quite high. But I would like for for media to have a better, or for people in general, for the general public to have a better, more egalitarian acceptance of women, whether they're in front or behind the camera. And I'd like for people in general, for Filipinos or just for anyone, to elevate women. Not that we need special treatment, but also to have a different kind of respect for women. I have to share this story, for example. Although it was based on safety and practicality, I had to take I had to take I had to step back and step aside when I became pregnant. I think that's one of the things that I would I would like to have people to change their ideas of. Just because a woman is pregnant doesn't mean that they cannot work,
Yeah.
that they cannot do what a basketball analyst or a basketball anchor can do. And I'm only speaking from my perspective, from my experience. Or just because a woman had just given birth and her weight is a little different, it doesn't mean that you have to put her to the side and have to make her change. Because I see a lot of women, and I hear it from a lot of women, that they always get told you should lose weight because it'll make you a better media person. Of course, it, it's important too to look good, but that shouldn't be the primary reason why you get a job, why you're assigned to do this and to do that. I've always also hated women, not naman hate, maybe that's such a strong word. I've always also never, I've always also been critical of women who would solely use their physical appearance to get ahead and to get the position, because that puts other women in peril. It makes women who are not as gifted, like myself, who are not as gifted physically, and it changes the expectation of women. So I would like for women to elevate themselves, to make themselves be hired because they are smart, because they can do the job that any man can do, and not because they're beautiful. We should also put it upon ourselves as women to take that kind of role, to take that kind of responsibility. Because at the end of the day, if we don't want to be treated for the way we are physically, then we should stop offering that first as a trait. To all the women who try to aspire, just like you, to leave their mark in broadcast media, whether if you're pursuing something in news or public affairs or sports, just like what I'm doing. My advice is to always strive to be at your best at all times. Meaning, we should always try to be good, not just because you're good as a girl, but you should try to always benchmark against the guys also. Of course, it's going to be very difficult to do, but at the end of the day, you want to be regarded as someone who is good, not just because you're a woman, you're good, period. Because that's been my dream. I've always wanted to be regarded as someone who's good in basketball, someone who's good at covering basketball. But I would like for others to drop the notion of saying, yeah, she's good for a girl. That's one of my pet peeves. So I'm hoping that you too, with your help, with your expertise, with your interest and passion in broadcast media, you can help people like myself and people of your generation to really elevate the status of women in broadcasting. But it's really up to you. You have to work hard at it and contribute to the cause.